Hello, my loved ones. It's another beautiful week, and we are thankful to the Almighty for bringing us thus far. We thank Him for grace, for life, in fact, for the gift of life. Here we are. Anyway, I trust that you all enjoy the tips on intuition and you have learned one or two things that you will be using to improve upon your lives. Anyway, today we are continuing from where we left off. And guess what? Can anyone recall some of the things talked about? I hope it was useful though. So we looked at how do we become intuitive? How do we become intuitive? We talked about it being innate, where some people are naturally gifted with that instinct, that inner guts, inner feelings of knowing what to do and what not to do, that augurs well for them. We talked about the very little things that we take for granted, yet are very, very important, that might help us in life, either to succeed or just get on smoothly in life. So that is where we touched on our daily activities, as basic as the things we wear, the colors we wear, the perfumes we put on, the food we eat. Yes, we may think that those things are very, very basic, but guess what again? Today we are going to talk about how those very little things affect us big time, affect our major decisions, affect our daily activities, that hinder our future progress. So stay tuned, come board, and let's just take it from where we left off in our previous submission. Okay, so we ask, how is something as basic as what you're wearing or the colors you're wearing that is interacting with you, your inner feelings, and you don't feel well, how does that influence or affect you in the long run? So as basic as you're living home, not feeling comfortable with what you're wearing. Let's say a perfume you're not used to, that is fighting with your inner self. Those who have gone through this will understand what I'm trying to say. So you feel so uncomfortable the whole day. The moment you step out from home, you're driving out, you realize that you're jittery. You're almost as if somebody is making you angry. So you are not even in your right frame of mind. Your inner feeling starts to affect how you are even thinking, your thought processes. Because you're not coherent. The slightest thing gets you angry. So you're driving and somebody, the slightest thing, you scream at somebody, you shout, you realize that you're all over. You're not that peaceful, relaxed person who is going out to have some big business done. See? So we link it to, by the time you get to where you're going, you are already worked out. You're edgy, if not even tired or halfway tired. You get into that meeting and now you're not comfortable. So if it is a big, high-profile meeting, I think you'll be guessing what would happen without you even noticing that it is the basic, not so important thing that you may think is what caused the whole issue of you not being yourself. People around you get to see it, and so they wonder, what is wrong with this person today? Why is he or she all over? Why is he or she not him or herself? Yes, that is what happens. Very little things we take for granted. So if it's a high profile meeting, as I mentioned, that you're going to strike a big deal, a big deal, I think by now you would know that if you are not careful, that deal may not even go right. The same vein, if it is a presentation you're going to make, that is going to have an effect on your presentation. You realize that you don't flow as much as you would love to flow, or as much as people know you to flow. So let us not take these things for granted. The very little things we take for granted end up costing us a lot. See? So if it was a deal that was going to last for a lifetime, or a business deal that was going to fetch it a lot, if you lose that just because of you not being in the right frame of mind and being, let me just put it that way, it's just not the mind, but you being in a good mood. Mood is what we're talking about. So your mood is going to ruin that all important business deal, your presentation, even to the highest level, wherever you find yourself. So as we all know, first impressions or impressions last forever. This is going to have an effect, a negative one, if that is the first time you are meeting people or granting, business deals. Okay, so that is just one aspect of it, and it leads to so many other things. I think by now you would have understood or gotten the point I'm coming from. How these very little things can cost so much, and the rippling effects are dire. Sometimes one mistake can follow you. Rippling effects can multiply, lead to another, and then you realize that in life you go back and say, what even happened? This one mistake. Okay, so again we come back to self-awareness, as we mentioned in the previous submission. Self-awareness. Be conscious of yourself. That is very, very, very important. When we mention self-awareness, people take it for granted and say, oh, what don't I know about myself? No. Self-awareness is very important. If you know and take particular attention, pay particular attention to yourself, you will notice these things. That I wore this, I ate this food and it didn't augur well for me. Right before I went for a presentation, I had drank too much water. Basic things, very basic things. I drank too much water, and whilst talking, maybe I was spilling water and spit all over. So when you know that, then you cut down on those things. We are talking about the very little things we take for granted that go a long way in, affecting us. And sometimes what we are hammering on is that inner guts, inner feeling that is telling you not to do it. If you're highly intuitive, continue listening to yourself. Don't go against it. But if you're somebody who is not sure and trying to, figure out if you are intuitive or not, or maybe 50-50, sometimes it doesn't work for you, just keep on also identifying the things that are working for you, and then you realize that you will tilt to that highly intuitive mode. Now, on the other hand, those who are not intuitive at all but want to start, as I mentioned, that it can be learned. You start from these very little things. It doesn't matter at what point in your life you are starting. Because you notice that if you're highly intuitive, you would have had a lot of successes as we speak. But if you have noticed, maybe you chanced on this video and have noticed that you haven't been so much of an intuitive person and want to start, it's never too late. Never too late in any aspect of your life. Because if you start now, you may be surprised where this will take you. And so if you're not that intuitive at all, start with the basic ones. Start taking, just be careful around you, your environment, what is happening, because it also has an effect on you. And then just start identifying things as you feel like, no, this thing will not work for me, and just try to listen to yourself, listen to your inner self, and then gradually you will get there. I think I want to also touch on a question I had when I posted the first video, and there was a question as to whether there is any other being apart from the human being or the individual who also controls or plays a role in intuition. I think I mentioned that people, when they don't understand what goes on around them, they attribute it to a supreme being, which is okay. So if you're inner, you don't want to attribute it to, like, okay, oh my God. For those who are Christians, those who are Muslims will say Allah, any supreme being that you subscribe to. You hear people say, oh my God, help me. I just felt like I should go this way, and yes, I went that way, and things went well for me. And it's just because you attribute it to a supreme being that is okay. But the intuition is basically how you feel. So if you rely on that supreme being and think that it is a supreme being who is directing you to be highly intuitive, follow it. There is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So I like to round it off by saying that again, somebody asked the question whether people in a group, like a group, can be highly intuitive. Yes, I said a group can be highly intuitive, but it is always based on the individual mood, the individual intuition. So that person who is intuitive individually, if you have a lot of intuitive, highly intuitive individuals in a group, the group is highly successful. Okay, so it depends on the individual intuition. You will be agreeing. You will all seem to be agreeing on a way forward or on issues. You realize that you don't waste time arguing about what is right or not, or which way to go. So intuition, as I said, is not based on cognitive abilities. It is just based on how you feel when you are stuck with decisions of which way to go. So reasoning, you would have used those cognitive abilities, and then you come to a situation where you feel like, okay, this is logical. This is, I think, yes, this is what we have to do. But we feel if we do it this way, it will be better. And majority of you think that way. You're highly intuitive. You do it and you come out and you're like, yes, we did it. That is what we are talking about. My lovely ones, I would end this one here, and then we'll be looking at other interesting topics. I'm thinking of talking about self-awareness as I introduce the series on emotional intelligence. You know, the elements in there. Self-awareness is the first and the most important element in there. So I will be coming up with that, and let's see how it goes. If you want me to talk about my experiences, as I have mentioned earlier, on that particular color, I had an experience with, I think it's personal, so I'm not, yes, my intuition is not coming in here because I'm highly intuitive, I would say. But I'm just thinking, this one I'm using my rational thoughts, my abilities. I'm just thinking that if you want me to, because it is a personal experience, if you want me to share it, then kindly drop it in the comment box and I will share that experience for those who just want it. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your support. I think we will just be fine, or I would appreciate it very much if we subscribe to my channel. That is Dr. Juliet Edwina Yeratinge's channel. Just hit the subscription button and then click on the bell so that anytime I post, you would have access to this educational stuff. Please like as well, and then share to friends, to loved ones. Let's all get to be a better version of ourselves. Thank you once again. May your week be very fruitful, and the universe bless your every endeavor. Thank you very much. I am Dr. Juliet Edwina Yaya. Bye.